Hey guys, my name is Vanya, the channel's RC Alley, and in this video we'll be reviewing the much anticipated B74.1D. This is a four-wheel drive buggy from Team Associated. So the reason I say it's much anticipated is mainly because not many people like the B74, and I don't know why. I mean, it just didn't feel all that great. It was kind of hard to drive. So when the B64 came out, the B64D I should say, that was my first four-wheel drive car. And at that time I've been driving two-wheel for a little while. Picked up the 64D and I was having a blast with it, doing well at club races, even won a couple trophies with it. So four-wheel was going really well for me. And then the 74 came out. I saw like how good it looked, all the carbon fiber, all the aluminum and everything on it, so it looked like, kind of looked like a B64D, just more refined, more tuning options. So I did pick it up and immediately I started struggling. I just lost my consistency and lost some speed that I had in four-wheel drive. And yeah, it just went like that for a little while. And even I don't know if you guys ever watch on Facebook, Dustin Evans does like live chats and live streams, I should say. And I asked like if there's anything up with the B64 or B74 geometry, and he said no, that it's fine, but I just couldn't find a setup for myself. Like every change I made, it seemed like I was getting further away than closer. And then finally Brent Dilke recommended a setup to run, and I put it on my car, and when the grip was high it was really good, but as soon as the grip started going away, the car was just getting squirrely and really hard to drive. And probably not even 2 months after I asked that question, or if something's up with the geometry of the B74 to Dustin Evans, they announced that they're releasing the 74.1, which is this car. So I knew right away, you know, I had to get it, or I either had to convert my 74 2.1 or just get a new kit to see how it goes. And I did, and I gotta say I've been pretty pleased, and here's my review. Let's get started. Alright, here's the car with the body off. It's equipped with a Sendit RC servo. Those are really good servos for the price they are. Not only for the price they are, they're just really good servos that happen to be pretty cheap. Reedy 510R ESC, in my opinion, that is one of the best ESCs on the market. Tekin Spec R 13.5 motor. I did run a Reedy for a little while, but I overheated it accidentally and it's just not creating power like it used to. I do have another one, but I don't have the right rotor for it. And then a Reedy battery, that is the SG3, the newest batteries Reedy has released. Alright, now that you've seen the car without the body, let's move on to the review part. So I'll start off with how the build went, and I didn't build the car. I converted my old 7.4 to the .1D, but if the build went for the new car anything like it went for the 7.4, it was perfect. Those plastics were fitting perfect. You didn't have to ream anything, you didn't have to squeeze anything tight, you didn't have to sand anything down to make it fit. The build was absolutely perfect, and yeah, like I said, if the 74.1 is anything like the 7.4, it's gonna be perfect too. Moving on to acceleration and braking, and again, the 7.4 did not have any issues here. These four-wheel drive buggies that have 3 gear diffs, they're in and out of a corner so quickly that it's incredible the amount of speed you can carry compared to like a ball diff four-wheel drive car like a B44.2 or before. So yeah, the braking and acceleration is incredible on all these four-wheel drive buggies. Next is jumping and landing, and I think the car jumps great, but you know, it lands good too. Good, I would say, not great. Maybe for a four-wheel buggy, it does land pretty well compared to some of the other buggies I've seen, but it's based on a touring car. I believe all these four-wheel drive buggies are based on touring cars, basically a touring car with giant shocks. So it's good at landing. I wouldn't say great, but most four-wheel drive buggies aren't all that great in landing. However, with four-wheel drive, as soon as you touch the ground, you can get on the throttle and keep moving. Next on the performance list is the cornering of this car, and to carry a lot of corner speed you need a lot of steering on your car. So the faster your car steers, the faster you can get in and out of a corner. So this is where I feel like the old car lagged. The B74 lacked steering for some reason, and that would make me try to push the car harder and push me into making mistakes, thus making it inconsistent. So the main difference between this car and the old version is that everything's pretty much lowered 1 to 2 millimeters, like shock bodies in the front, shock shafts in the rear, towers. I think the C block is like 0.5 millimeter more narrow. So all these little changes don't seem like they would do much, but man, this car, it performs much better than the old one. I've already noticed, like during club racing, where I'm finishing compared to people who were beating me with the B74. Now I am again beating them with the 741. So yeah, corner speed, I would say it's definitely improved, or cornering I should say, over the old car. Alright, so next is the durability of the car. And all these new cars, unless you're, you know, tapping the wall all the time at the end of the straight or coming onto the straight or whatever, you will break A-arms or you might snap a shock tower or something. But in general, I would say all these new generation cars are extremely durable for how fast we drive them around these tracks. So yeah, durability is like a 10 out of 10. I don't think I've broken anything on this car since I've owned it. So I did get this as a 7.4. I've had it for a long time now. And then yes, the durability is awesome. The only thing that I lost on the car was in the rear diff. So in the diffs there are 2 O-rings, and one O-ring just broke, like it broke in half, and I was leaking oil, but I replaced that, and now the car is perfect again. So yeah, that's the only things I've ever broken on it. Or I wouldn't even say broken, it kind of just wore out. The very last thing is the value. So how much it costs, what you get in the kit, what kind of customer support the company has, and all that other stuff, like how many setup sheets there are, aftermarket parts, all of that. And really, when it comes to customer support, AE is second to none. I've had to call them once, and within 4 days I had the part at my house that I needed, that was missing in the kit that I got. So yeah, they're awesome there. I've never heard anybody say they called them and AE was like, oh no, we're not gonna help you out in any way or anything. They will always try and work with you and figure out a solution for your problem. And then the kits, they're pricey. I mean, they're over 500 bucks, let's say. You know, depends where you get it, what time of year is there a sale going on. So around 500 bucks, which that's 8 scale buggy territory. That's a lot of money for a 10 scale car. But you know, if you look at the build quality of it, there's like so much machined carbon or machined aluminum, and then a bunch of carbon fiber parts on it. It looks incredible. So I see why they charge as much as they charge. And then yes, of course, we're paying for the race team in these kit prices and everything, but that's you gotta do that. You gotta have a good race team That way they send out setup sheets and do setup help, and like I said, Dustin Evans does a live video thing on Facebook where you can literally ask him any question and he'll answer it for you. So yeah, as far as customer support and value and all that, like, I would say it's good. Like, yeah, the kit is pricey, but you get a lot of car for what you're paying. Okay, so only the conclusion left. Would I spend my money on this car again? Would I recommend you spend your money on this car? And the answer is yes, even though people say that the new TLR 4-wheel is the most epic car to drive ever, pretty much. So, and I've driven some, and yes, they are awesome. They feel so good. They're so easy to drive. You can push them. But I really do believe with this new version of the B74 that we might be keeping up with the TLR guys. You know, if I would say if I race somebody with the exact same speed as me and they had a TLR and I had my old 7.4, they would have probably beat me. But I don't think that necessarily anymore. I've gotten a lot more consistent with this car than I was with the 7.4, and my lap times are pretty competitive now, as they were not before, really, with the B74. So yeah, I would say in conclusion, awesome car. I do recommend it. You know, some people will never buy an AE because they're a TLR person, or they'll never buy a TLR because they're an AE guy, and that's okay. But if you're considering a new buggy, you run AE, you don't have a chassis sponsor, you're thinking about the TLR maybe, I would say just go with this, stick with your brand. Like, yeah, they might have made a mistake with the last version of the car, but they were pretty quick to fix it, so can't complain there. Alright guys, it's a lengthy video, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that little notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos. Now, it's not too often, so it won't be annoying you too much. And yeah, that's it for me today. I'll see you guys next time.